That wave of dizziness you feel when you stand up fast is not just aging. And that chest-tightening dread when the blood pressure cuff inflates does not have to be your reality. Everything you have been told about hypertension is a dangerous half-truth. Sodium is not the primary enemy of your blood pressure. Dropping your numbers too low might actually be starving your brain. Dr. Megan Foster has spent 24 years in active clinical practice watching this exact failure. She warns against the medical establishment and APO's obsession with chasing a perfect number. They enforce extreme sodium restriction. They prescribe heavy medication. They ignore vascular health. You take the pills. You cut the salt. You stand up. The room spins. You sit in the waiting room. Your palms sweat. You know the number is going to be high before they even wrap the fabric around your arm. How many times have you felt like you were failing your doctor, even though you were taking your pills exactly as prescribed? You are not failing. The protocol is failing. Millions of seniors are being medicated into dizziness and broken bones just to satisfy a number on a doctor and APO's chart. We will look at the exact trial data proving this in a moment. Your doctor is trying to artificially drop the hydraulic pump and APO's pressure. They treat your arteries like inanimate plumbing. But your arteries are living tissue. Forcing the pressure down without fixing the structural integrity of the tissue creates an immediate crisis in your head. But if salt is not the root cause of the pressure, and the medication is making you dizzy, what exactly is happening inside your chest right now? The answer lies in a microscopic structural failure. The villain is arterial stiffness. Your circulatory system is a network of hydraulic lines. When you are young, those lines are flexible rubber hoses. They expand and contract. They adapt when you stand up or sit down. But chronic stress and high blood sugar initiate a microscopic chemical reaction. They introduce corrosion into the hydraulic lines. The living tissue stiffens. The flexible rubber hoses become brittle, rusted pipes. The glucose molecule latches onto the protein strand of your arterial wall like a barnacle welding itself to a ship hull. It hardens. It crystallizes. When your heart pumps fluid through a flexible hose, the hose expands to absorb the force. The pressure remains low. When your heart pushes fluid through a rigid, crystallized pipe, the fluid slams against the walls. The friction generates heat. The pressure skyrockets. The medical system responds by forcing the pump to work less. Or they force the kidneys to dump water. They look at the SPRINT trial. This was a major clinical trial that pushed older adults to achieve a perfect 120/80 systolic pressure. The results were catastrophic. Pushing the pressure that low in stiffened arteries caused syncope. It caused acute kidney injury. It caused deadly falls. Read that trial data again. Pushing numbers below 120 caused more falls and kidney injury. Lower is not always better. Dr. Foster saw this exact pattern in 5,000 patients. You need adequate hydraulic pressure to push blood against gravity up into your brain. When you artificially tank the pressure in stiff pipes, the engine overheats. The safety valves fail. You stand up. The blood drops. Your brain is starved of oxygen. You experience that as a dizzy spell. Your doctor is trying to reduce the fluid volume. They put you on extreme low-sodium diets. But what if, instead, we could instantly dissolve the rust and restore the flexibility of the pipes? If salt is not the real enemy, what is? The answer is not in your medicine cabinet. It is a specific biological lubricant your body stopped making. And you can turn it back on tonight. Here is the exact 3-step legacy protocol to do it. The compound is nitric oxide. It is your body and APO's internal Teflon spray. It acts as an immediate biological lubricant. When your endothelium produces nitric oxide, it forces the stiff, corroded pipes to relax and expand. The pressure drops naturally. But you cannot swallow a pill to get it. You have to manufacture it. The trigger is postprandial walking. Walking 10 to 15 minutes immediately after a meal. Specifically after dinner. When you walk after eating, your muscle fibers act as a sponge. They absorb the circulating glucose from your blood without requiring a massive insulin spike. High insulin locks sodium in your kidneys. By lowering the insulin, you open the pressure valves. Simultaneously, the rhythmic motion of your legs pumping creates shear stress on the vessel walls. Think of dragging a stone across a riverbed. This physical friction signals the endothelium to flood the rusted pipes with nitric oxide. The dosage is non-negotiable. 10 to 15 minutes. You must do it before 8:00 and o'clock at night. Keep a moderate pace. You must be able to hold a conversation. No heavy athletic gear is required. This routine pairs with early dining to optimize the natural 20% nighttime blood pressure dip. A 7-point drop. For many, that is the exact difference between a high dosage of medication and a low, manageable one. You manufacture the biological lubricant. Now you must apply the rust dissolver. That is your dietary potassium to sodium ratio. Standard advice tells you to cut sodium entirely. This starves your vascular smooth muscle. Potassium is the chemical that directly counteracts sodium. It opens the pressure valves in the kidneys to excrete waste. It forces vascular smooth muscle to relax. The target is 4,700 milligrams daily. The mainstream tells you to eat bananas and potatoes. You do not need to eat heavy, starch-laden foods. You use localized, plant-based medicinal alternatives. Cold-brewed hibiscus tea and beetroot. Hibiscus acts as a natural AC inhibitor. It blocks the enzyme that constricts your blood vessels. It mimics blood pressure medications naturally. You steep the hibiscus flowers overnight in cold water to maximize the antioxidant retention. Beetroot provides massive dietary nitrates. The bacteria on your tongue convert those nitrates directly into nitric oxide. This chemical reaction vastly outperforms the simple potassium found in a banana. Next, you recalibrate the master control board. Pace parasympathetic breathing. 6 breaths per minute. For 5 to 10 minutes daily. You pull the air deep into your diaphragm. This mechanical expansion of the lower lungs flips your nervous system and Apo's master switch. It shifts you from fight or flight constriction to rest and repair dilation. Your vessels open. The fluid flows easily. But none of this works if you continue pouring sludge and corrosive acid into the tank. You must eliminate the anti-list. First is alcohol. Even 1 or 2 drinks ruins your sleep architecture. It spikes the sympathetic nervous system in the second half of the night. Your heart rate stays elevated. The internal engine never cools down. It destroys the nighttime blood pressure dip entirely. Second is late-night screen time. Blue light from your phone suppresses melatonin. Melatonin is a secret cardiovascular regulator. Without it, your pressure stays elevated until dawn. Third is processed low-sodium diet foods. You bought the low-sodium crackers thinking you were safe, but you just walked into a biological trap. They remove the salt. They provide zero potassium. Your pipes are left starved, stiff, and brittle. You now have the biological lubricant to fix the pressure valves. You have the rust dissolver. But knowledge without action is just trivia. Here is what your first 24 hours will look like. Picture your next medical visit. You sit calmly in the doctor and Apo's office. The nurse wraps the fabric around your arm. You hear the machine hum. You feel the cuff gently deflate. There is no spike in anxiety. There is no panic. You know your numbers are stable. You stand up to leave the office, and your head is completely clear. The room does not spin. Returning to the sound of the Velcro on the blood pressure cuff is no longer a moment of dread. It is a sound of victory. Blood pressure is not a static number to be chemically forced down. It is a dynamic, living system. It responds to natural flexibility. It responds to nervous system peace. When you repair the endothelium, your body calibrates its own pressure. The pipes expand. The friction disappears. The engine cools. You hold the power to dictate this structural repair. You control the biological lubricant. You control the rust dissolver. Your arteries are listening to every choice you make. The healing process begins the exact moment you step out the door after dinner tonight. If you want to know the 3 signs your endothelial lining is already healing,